Welcome to Sheni v'Chamishi. In the Alchemy, a Yid would go, he would eat. What could he eat? He ate whatever he had. In the Alchemy, there was no chachmas. So, a lot of the theologians and the Galachim were learning Eitz Chaim. They were tapping into Eitz Chaim because they were alchemists. Alchemists is what chemistry is rooted in, but chemistry is no joke. It's a real science. Chemistry, like mathematics, never lies. So, and the government is a big budget, like $30 billion, and I think there's different places. Bethesda, Maryland. It's a great honor to be part of such a society that works in this area. But when these theologians were trying to do understand creation in rather material ways, they were messing with things in its time. But remember, all these alchemists always had their little machberes in their pad of what they were doing and how they were doing, and nobody could ever understand and read their notes. It was all private. That's not the way of science. The way of science is if you, number one, you study facts. You don't study religious bullshit. You study real shit. And then you continue, and then you bring your facts and your theories and your hypothesis to the main community. That's the way of science. The way of religion is personal. It's revelation. So you had a revelation. How could I? That's your revelation, not mine. Your revelation told you that Jesus was on a toast. My revelation told me that Lucifer was on a fat piece of steak. Who's the? So when you're dealing with Tanya, the Alter Rebbe writes things based on Arizal, based on Zohar, and then some things based on science. He talks about R Shais. But it doesn't mean that the Alter Rebbe is a scientist, because he's not. He would have been. He was interested in the way the sun shines. Every modern citizen should be scientifically literate. This is the new project that I'm involved in, where it's a very non-traditional way of learning science, but it's very helpful, because now we're trying to make sure that everybody can have access. You should, if you want to know where to start, the great way to start is with Tyler Roberts in the series The Joys of Science, and explains that science is just a way of knowing, and mankind and humanity and the history of mankind has devised many ways of knowing. Even though chemistry is rooted in alchemy, it doesn't give credibility to alchemy. Alchemy is gone. It's something that leave your link below. Something that you can't do anything with it. You can't sell it. Doesn't work. But it was at least an attempt. A lot of philosophical questions were answered in science. So they started out as philosophical and they were answered in science. Some questions weren't even philosophical and they were answered in science. Universe questions and scientific stuff that we found out about the universe and astrophysics. So in that case, you have a beautiful idea of where mankind is going. Ciao. Konnichiwa. Arigato. And surimashita. So he goes, so basically, when you have a question in Sfarim, in Halacha, whether it's moral or scientific or ethical, like the way Halacha advises to treat women and homosexuals and minorities and goyim, how does Halacha have the right to decide about a goy, his life, and to say what laws God gave him? Maybe God gave him more than 7 and different things. So you have to understand that the halacha was just doing what was just a product of its time, and your test is if you can stand the test of your time, and are you a product of your time, and do you teach your children based on what's available today? based on the information we have, we know that every field of psychiatric medicine and doctors say, Lamashal, that homosexuality is not a sickness. So if you pretend that it is, you're ignoring all the evidence, and you're not a man of your time, because we know the MS, and you're just using your right to believe in whatever you want, that to be cruel and to be oblivious to the needs of others. We know that without education, people can't survive in the world, and they can't compete, and they have a difficult life. But you're using your freedoms to be ignorant and to be arrogant and to be indifferent to the sufferings of others. And that excuse, that religious excuse, may not work in the eyes of God. Ask yourself. Cheshbon HaNefesh doesn't hurt. Thank you for watching Sheni V'Chamishi. Bye-bye.